My job for most of the year I was there was to load ammunition in the back of 18-wheelers and day and night loading these mortars, these rockets, all these things that were going over to Vietnam. And I resented that. I thought, the government has trained me to do this job, and I am not contributing anything to my country. I'm over here loading 18-wheelers. I could have done that back home, and been making more than $75 a month. That was what I was getting paid in 1968. And many of you especially World War II veterans, probably got paid less than that. And but one day, my commanding officer called me in and said, "Mark, you got orders here to go to Vietnam. So you'll be leaving in just a few days." So I left and went to Vietnam, and guess what? I was happy that those rockets and mortars and ammunition and all those things I had loaded on the back of those trucks were there waiting on me when I got there to defend me and to defend the other people. So sometimes we don't see our value until we look at it from a different perspective. By putting on a uniform and being ready to fight, you are all a veteran that deserves the honor and the benefits that are offered you. Not every player on a Super Bowl team or a World Series team gets to get out on the field, but they're all winners. And the same way with the wives and the mothers that stayed back home and supported the veterans when they were overseas. The story of a death of a soldier is a story of Christ. You see, our veterans who died for you and me did not die because you deserve it or because you were good enough for them to give their lives for you. The gift that our American men and women gave was unconditional love, and it was sacrificial. The Bible says that Jesus did the same for us. He thought you were worth the sacrifice. In fact, he said this about himself before he died, before he went to the cross. He said, "Greater love has no man or woman than this, that they lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends," he said. And how we respond to the sacrifice that's been given to you and me by those who died for us, how do we do that? What do we do? How can we repay, or how can we at least acknowledge what has been done for us? Our nation has honored our veterans with memorials, with statues, with great things like the Vietnam Memorial Wall, the World War II Veterans Wall statue, all the different things that are in Washington, D.C. We can continue to honor them with acts of love and kindness to their families, to their people that you know personally that are veterans. Maybe they are in a nursing home like I mentioned. Maybe they are at homebound. Maybe they're wounded veterans that can't get out and do everything that you do. You can honor them by kind words to them and their families. You have an opportunity to visit one. If you have an opportunity to send a card or post a comment on Facebook, maybe a picture of your dad or your a loved one that served. Maybe you can honor them that way. Today, your freedom are because of the sacrifices of others, and their deaths are not in vain. Many are looking down today from heaven and see that you have the freedom to come to church and to worship. And I would encourage all of us not to get too comfortable that freedom. Because you see, just less than a year ago, they had this freedom in Iraq and in Afghanistan. And today, those people are being executed for their faith. Many of them are being crucified like Jesus was for their faith because they refuse to denounce their love for Christ and for God. So think about your freedom and honor it and take advantage of it. Use your freedom in a wise way to worship, to love and to give to other people and to help those that are in need. Tomorrow, I'd encourage you, take the time to thank a veteran or a soldier in uniform for their service to our country. Show them a random act of kindness. You know, as a Vietnam veteran, and many of you stood up as Vietnam veterans, and you know when we came back from Vietnam, we were not treated very well. In fact, we were often insulted. We were spit on. We were called baby killers. We were dishonored instead of honored. It was not until I started teaching school, 16 years in school, one of the new principals came in and took all the veterans into the band room and honored us with a little ceremony and gave us a little plaque. That was the first time that I was appreciated or honored for my service outside of the general thanks that I received from my family and my friends. So, show a random act of kindness or love to people while you can. Just like Brother Tag mentioned a while ago, there's no World War I veterans alive. One day, we'll be saying that about World War II veterans and Vietnam veterans because of our ages and the time that's passed. So, young people, you do what you can to let your fathers and your grandfathers know that you appreciate their military service and that your freedoms today are appreciated. Continue to pray for our soldiers that are overseas, that are in combat situations today. And finally, take advantage of your freedom to worship as well as to encourage other people to love our country, to be patriotic, to help those that we can help. Many people in other countries today have lost their freedoms and wish that they could live in a wonderful country like the United States of America. May God bless you and may God bless America.